Hello and welcome to the Communisphere. I'm your host, TJ Walker, and we are live. It's Friday afternoon. We're going to be doing some experimentation here, creating content, talking to you directly. My colleague Ben is posting in the comments section a link if you want to talk to me and even come on camera, debate, have a conversation, you can do so. And Ben, I'm seeing something on the screen that says, oh, we need something else for Twitter required. I'm hitting the button go live. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. I don't know if there's something you could do about that, but I'll let you worry about that. Anyway, we're going to dive right in. This first topic will be about the crypto clown show. You know who really loves cryptocurrency? Scammers, ransomware, hackers, and that guy in your group chat who thinks buying Dogecoin is a retirement plan. Warren Buffett called Bitcoin rat poison squared. That's from a guy who made $100 billion by actually understanding value, not pretending that a JPEG of a monkey is going to pay your mortgage. And Paul Krugman, the Nobel Prize-winning economist, compared crypto to subprime mortgages, saying it's a Ponzi scheme that keeps reinventing itself. When economists are calling your investment strategy a cult with a wallet, it is time to log off. Crypto promised to replace banks, money, and governments. So far, it's replaced your savings account with regret and a very long tax form. If you want to gamble, go to Vegas. At least there, when you lose your shirt, someone hands you a cocktail. Okay, note to my editor, that will be the end of the short form there. Now I want to go a little deeper because crypto is something obviously a lot of people have strong feelings about. I'm no different. So I want to go over sort of the main messaging. We're told again and again, it's the next big thing, it's the next new thing, it's the next new thing. It's so important. But anytime I've ever asked somebody who owns cryptocurrency the following question, what value does it provide? I've never heard anyone give a good answer or even a real answer at any level. And that's really the problem. We know what the bad answers are. The bad answer is that it helps scammers, criminals, people trying to ransom someone. We know about that. But typically, if you ask someone who's a big believer in it, they believe in it because it goes up. Well, you could say the same thing about tulips. If someone keeps paying more for tulips, then tulips are great, and that happened in history. Just keep on buying tulips, because if more suckers come along and start paying $10 for a $1 tulip or $1,000 for a $1 tulip, well, you'll just keep making money, right? Until the whole thing caves in. Now, we've seen a lot of ups and downs with Bitcoin, and so many cryptocurrencies have just disappeared. Since this is the communiverse, I'm interested in how this idea is communicated. One of the ideas that is communicated about any cryptocurrency is it's the new thing. It's new technology. It's so sophisticated. It's going to replace these outdated so-called fiat currencies. But then you scratch a little, you look at the details. Cryptocurrency's been around since 2009. That's incredibly old from the standpoint of a new technology. I mean, that's basically ancient. Still, how often can you go to the local grocery store and pay with cryptocurrency? Can you go to your local convenience store, your local liquor store, and pay for cryptocurrency? No, you can't. Now, there certainly was a time, I noticed it in South Florida, especially in Miami, where you'd see all these signs, cryptocurrency accepted here. We accept cryptocurrency. And it seems like, wow, this must be the new thing. It's accepted everywhere. Only one little problem. If you go to the store and say, hey, can I really pay with cryptocurrency? They're like, oh, no, somebody just paid us a few bucks to put that bumper sticker in the wall and on the door. It was all a scam. So the biggest problem, as I see it with cryptocurrency, is there's no clear use for it in payments or commerce. It's simply not a reliable use of commerce. Legitimate businesses simply do not need to use cryptocurrency. It's slow, it's inefficient, it's expensive, especially during peak network congestion. It's kind of a step backwards when it comes to financial evolution. The other problem is there's no intrinsic value. Now, you could say, well, the US dollar isn't backed by gold, it's fiat currency. But time out. The very same people who are saying the US dollar is so worthless because there's no intrinsic value then want to turn around and say, well, Bitcoin is great, even though it has no intrinsic value. Fiat currency is bad because somebody just established by fiat that it's worth something. Well, that's essentially what's happening with Bitcoin. So there's a lot of circular arguments going on here. It's really true speculation, no different from what I talked about with tulips. Now, did some people make money on tulips? Yes. Have people made money with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies? Well, yes, you can make money on anything. I mean, I could make money saying this pen was used by Taylor Swift and I'll auction it off starting at $100 and maybe it goes to 200, 500, 1,000. I could make money, but that's really just speculate. By the way, she's never seen this pen. It's just speculation, and that's not real investment. So people talk about this being like a crypto gold and being a safe haven. Well, it fluctuates wildly. Now, gold also fluctuates. I'm not a big fan of gold, frankly, but the idea that it is counter-cyclical and it will be a great hedge during recessionary time, there's simply not a single shred of evidence. It fluctuates wildly because it's speculation. Now, there are a lot of big problems with crypto. Part of it is it's environmentally destructive. The amount of energy it takes to do this so-called mining. Don't even get me into explaining it because it's so wildly complicated. You can say, well, TJ, you don't understand crypto. Here's the thing. I bet you don't either. And most people who invest in crypto, if you talk to them for more than 5 minutes and say, well, explain to me again, who created this, why, what the value is, who's monitoring it, how is it managed? They have no idea. And that's the problem I see as a message that a currency has. Currencies have messages. Believe in the United States dollar because, at least until a few months ago, it was backed by a stable government that kept its promises and made sound decisions often. That was the argument behind the US dollar, a safe haven. There's no real argument behind Bitcoin, except for one, which I'll get to in a moment. Other problems with crypto, it's used by sleazy, skeezy characters because of lack of regulation and transparency in a lot of crypto markets. Now, there is Bitcoin and there are all the others. I'm not saying Bitcoin is great and all the others are garbage. I'm saying all of them are garbage. Doesn't mean people haven't made money. Doesn't mean you can't make money on them. I'm saying that I essentially agree with Warren Buffett that it is rat poison squared. And I'm going to go over a few more reasons. I like Paul Krugman's phrase, that's techno-optimism run amok. That as long as it's been around, all the hype, all the big show, all the billionaires hyping it, no one has really figured out a real world use for this. And talking about banking the unbanked, they've either failed these solutions or they bring out new risk. They haven't really done much at all. In some ways, this is very similar to the dot-com boom, which ended up as a bust, similar to a lot of the deregulation that brought out the 2008 housing crisis. That certainly didn't work out well. And it involves a lot of magical thinking that once you scratch a little, it doesn't really pan out. It doesn't really work. That's the problem. Now, There is one thing that crypto is good for. Paul Krugman doesn't give enough credit. A lot of other people don't give credit, but I'm going to spell it out for you right here. I think this is the real message that is communicated by cryptocurrency. It's a way for wealthy people, and I'm not anti-wealthy people by some measures. It's a way for wealthy people to say F you to their own government. You can't dilute the value of my money. You can't devalue our currency and harm me with inflation. I've got this other currency here. That's really the ultimate value of wealthy people being able to say F you to their government. And here I am in the United States. That obviously applies to the US government and to the United States dollar. So if that's the main message you want to send, by all means, continue to promote cryptocurrency. But if that's not what you think personally values you, I don't know why you would want to be involved with it. So those are my thoughts on cryptocurrency. This has been around since 2009. I get sick of hearing about it. I absolutely love when I see it plummet and people losing money from it. But it's not going to go away anytime soon. But just because something doesn't go away doesn't mean it's not a horrible idea. A lot of cults have been around for thousands of years. They don't go away. Certain diseases have been around thousands of years. They don't go away. I put this in the same category. Special hello to my good friends on TikTok. I see so many of you have joined today. I'm TJ Walker. This is the Communiverse. That's the name of the show. We are live today. I will take your questions. I have a hard time reading it on my phone there. If you do want to join us live, you can actually join me right on screen. All you have to do is come on over to my YouTube channel, search for TJ Walker, or Facebook, or LinkedIn, or basically any platform other than TikTok. As much as we love TikTok, it can't do the interface with StreamYard, so it doesn't let me talk to you directly the way it does and share my screens. So Saitha writes in, hi there, TJ. I'm a big fan of you, man. Well, Sativa, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, thoughts on how crypto is communicated to the world, its value, feel free to share any other topics. We're going to be talking about a lot of topics today. Next in the news is Mr. Beast. I'll be talking about him just a moment and sharing with you some of my thoughts. Okay. So let me get to note to editor. I'm going to hop right in. We are going to make some content for short form video. So we're trying to kill two birds with one stone here. We're going live for friends on TikTok and YouTube and every place else. I'm also making short form videos and long form videos to be edited down and posted later on social media. So occasionally I'll stop, we'll redo it. I'll make a mistake just as you saw right there. I am using a script for the first 60 seconds or so. And then I'm sharing with you additional thoughts where there's no script involved. So that's what we're doing here today. So let me get this straight. Mexico gave Mr. Beast accent. It's Friday, folks. I think I'm stumbling even more. But Sayata, I'm glad you're here. Others, and to my friends on TikTok, if you have a question or want to join in, please feel free. There's a chance I'll see a question if you do post it on TikTok. Okay. So note to editor, we're going to redo this. So let me get this straight. Mexico gave Mr. Beast access to ancient Mayan temples. They let him film a restricted pyramid, watched him say, I can't believe the government's letting us do this. And now they're shocked. Shocked he used the footage to plug his chocolate brand? Really? You've seen the thumbnails. You know the man turns every trip into a snack ad with explosions and money raining from the sky. Now the government's mad. He calls the bars Mayan approved and wants compensation and a public apology. Guys, this isn't a history documentary. It's a 60 million view marketing tornado with his name on it. If your permit didn't allow commercial branding, maybe don't let the world's biggest YouTuber and future $5 billion brand film at your most sacred site. Okay? You didn't get scammed. You got exactly what you signed up for. You didn't read the YouTube terms and conditions. Okay, note to editor, that's the end of my short form on Mr. Beast. Again, for those of you who didn't follow it, Mr. Beast went to Mexico, somehow talked his way in, as he often does, into all sorts of restricted areas that you and I couldn't get into, gave a tour of a Mayan temple, and in the middle of it said, hey, folks, look at my new Feastables chocolate bar. And maybe I didn't see what else he was promoting, but that's how he pays the bills. He doesn't pay the bills with just ads from his YouTube channel. He has to do plugs within the segments, and he's a master at it. He's artful at it. He's great at it. And he's not exactly a secret. He's one of the most famous people in the entire world, on the entire planet. And the government of Mexico gave him credit, and now they're trying to sue him. That just seems a bit rich to me. Maybe, and I don't know, I haven't talked to the government official, maybe they're doing this hoping to manipulate people like me and others on the internet to talk about this even more. If so, that's a brilliant strategy. There are certain people in public life, one of them in Washington, D.C., I won't mention his name, they understand the power of a lawsuit, not to win court cases, but to generate publicity, to get people talking. Just suing someone, if you never have a prayer of winning, if you have no hope of ever winning, can be a great strategy. I mean, maybe you pay a lawyer $500 to spend an hour using ChatGPT to put together a draft of a lawsuit. You file it, you tell the lawyer, that's it, we're not going to need you anymore. And then you put out press releases. Sometimes you can turn that $500 into $5,000, $50,000, $500,000, $5 million worth of publicity, which may be, in fact, what the government of Mexico is doing. And maybe I'm being played right now. What do you think? You can post your comments in the comments section. If you do it right here on the StreamYard function, I'll be able to see it and share it with the audience. We are live today. It is Friday, May 16th, 2025. We're also creating short form, long form video that will be dispersed across social media over the next week, sometimes the next month. And parts of this will end up in my new podcast called The Communisphere, which I'm very excited about. We haven't officially launched the Communisphere, but it is coming. Again, special hello to our friends on TikTok, where TikTok does such a great job of instantly alerting so many people that you're live. You're seeing me at a different angle. If you want to see how people everywhere else on social media are seeing this, and I'll be playing video clips that you won't be able to hear or see if you're on TikTok, you can come on over to our other channels on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, etc., because we are simulcasting live on all of those places today. So I do want to thank you for spending a little time with me today. And let's just do a little call out. I see Robin is with us. Wick is with us. It looks like Dale. I'm scrolling. I'm reaching across because my Alice is with us today. And Kat has joined. So it is nice the way TikTok just instantly sends hundreds, sometimes thousands of people to a live stream. And if you do post a question, I will try to get to it before we end today, but it's harder to see it there. If you post your questions right here in StreamYard, and I'll see it if you post it on YouTube or anyplace else, I will try to address it right away. So thanks so much for joining me. All right, next issue I do want to talk about. And forgive me to those of you in India, in South Africa, other countries. We have people from all over the world joining us. I am going to give a slightly US focused show today. More stories do relate to the US, not all of them, but this next one is a US based story about a strike going on. Now, there's strikes, unions put on strikes all over the world. I'm hoping there's some relevance to you with this as well, but it involves the New Jersey transit engineer. So I'm going to hop right in. Note to editor. Maybe I should do this to make it easier for when they edit and they can see it. New Jersey transit engineers message delivered. The New Jersey transit engineers just pulled a textbook media move, and from a communication strategy standpoint, it is brilliant. They threatened to strike on a random Friday in May, not tied to a holiday, yet still managed to dominate headlines in the nation's largest media market. Why? Because they're not just moving bodies, they're transporting Wall Street, Madison Avenue, and broadcast media executives who rake in 7- and 8-figure salaries, while the engineers themselves average a little over 6 figures with overtime. The class contrast, that's the message, and they got it on the front page without lifting a picket sign. They didn't actually strike. They just made sure the threat was loud enough to get people's attention. That's leverage. That's smart communication. This wasn't about shutting down trains. It was about reframing who keeps New York and New Jersey running and how underappreciated they are. When your message makes the rich late and makes the news, you're doing media strategy right. Okay, note to editor, that's the end of the short form video. Now, a little more context, what's going on here. So the New Jersey Transit, and those of you who don't live in the United States, there's New York City, which obviously you've heard of. And then it's a small little island. Right next to it is this big state, New Jersey. And a huge percentage of Wall Street executives, publishing executives, PR advertising executives, people who make high 6 figures, 7 figures, Wall Street executives, some of them make 8 figures a year. They still take the train in from New Jersey because even if you had a stretch limousine and your own driver, it takes too long in traffic. The train is generally the fastest way to go. Now, I used to live in New Jersey. I used to take New Jersey Transit, the path from Hoboken to Midtown Manhattan on a daily basis. So I'm very familiar with this train lines and the train station. And by most people's standards across the world, the salaries these engineers are making seems high. 130. Some of the proposals, they would go up to $250,000 a year. So you may be thinking, my gosh, why are they complaining? Seems like they got it good, right? Well, this is New Jersey. So you have high state taxes and you have housing costs. I mean, a shack can cost you $1 million in certain towns in New Jersey. So it's in a very expensive place to live. And they look at the people using their service. So many of them have extraordinarily high incomes. They've decided, let's play our strike card or threaten to it for leverage to get more concessions out of the representatives on the government side. So am I saying they 100% deserve it? No, I'm looking at this through the lens of communication and how they're communicating. So far, it seems to be good. They didn't shut down when there was a crisis in New York. They didn't shut down on 9/11 and people are fleeing for their lives. They're not risking people's lives. They're giving people notice. They haven't done it yet, but they are flexing their clout. And that can be a good thing to do in negotiations. Otherwise, why should someone pay you more? It's always going to be easy to say, hey, we like you, no pay raise. That's always going to be the safest thing, whether it's a private sector organization or a public sector organization. So I'll be monitoring that more, if you happen to live in New Jersey and are affected by this or feel that you are, please go ahead and let me know. I would love to hear from you. I'm TJ Walker. Thanks for joining me today. This is the Communiverse. It's a new show devoted to understanding, analyzing, and exploring every aspect of communication in the world. My big belief is that your ultimate success in your career flows from how well you communicate. And your ultimate personal health and happiness comes from how well you receive communication, how well you analyze communication in a thoughtful way coming to you. So communication is about listening. It's not just speaking. You need both. So this show is about really trying to have a better understanding of speaking, spoken communication, listening, receiving communication. My pledge to you is if you spend time with me in this show, in this time we have together, you will become a better communicator. Your life will be enhanced. And to help you with that a little, I do want to give you free access to my own communications coaching, which you can access by going to tjwalker.ai. So check it out. Let me just show it to you right now. I tried yesterday and it didn't work when I needed it, but we will try it right now. It's completely free the first few times you use it, and it's doing some pretty innovative things. It's coming up on a year old, although the video part is not quite a year old. So I want to show it to you, give you a little taste of it, and I hope encourage you. And those of you watching on TikTok, you'll need to go to tjwalker.ai because I can't show it to you with what we're doing. I can't pick up the phone and move it over here. So apologies for that. But those of you watching on Facebook, YouTube, anyplace else, you can see it. So we're going to take a look at the clone and see if we can talk to it. And this will give you a little bit of a taste of what it is, in fact, all about. So again, you just go to tjwalker.ai. You can text it a question. You can have it like a phone call, an audio part, or you can do like a Skype video. I shouldn't say Skype.
Hi, I'm TJ's clone. How may I help you communicate more effectively?
Hi, TJ. For people who've never heard of an AI video clone, tell them what you're about and how you could possibly help them. Okay, and we're having technical difficulties again. So that is the nature of technology. I don't know why this has happened. I mean, it works pretty well the vast majority of the time. And when I did this yesterday, as soon as I hung up our live feed, it worked perfectly. Let's try one more time. TJ, can you hear me? And now I'm going to have to be quiet for a minute. Well, that is stunningly unimpressive. I can't try to fool you there. There's no amount of marketing or spin that's going to make you like that. I do have to stress, you don't get charged for anything like that. You can access the clone at any point, text, audio, video, and you don't get charged until you've used it a bunch and we have all the kinks worked out. So I don't quite know what has happened there, but I'm going to try it, see if we can fix it as soon as we finish our show today. Also in the news, other communications issues, and this relates to funding of communication, funding of PBS, the public broadcasting system. And there are current funding battles going on in Washington, D.C., with lawmakers So I want to give you my thoughts specifically on what's going on in some of the funding wars going on in Washington and weighing in on that. So hold on 1 minute. I'm going to get the visuals ready. We can go ahead and pull this up so you'll have a little context for that. So again, note to editor. Oh, Manas has stopped by. Manas, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for popping in. And Manas says, love you to death, man, for holding your stand on crypto. Okay. Seriously, love you. Perspective. Did you know Michael Saylor has lost or has most Bitcoin in the world at average rate of 99.5 thousand US, and they are leveraged. I'm not familiar with Michael Saylor, but Manus, certainly appreciate your perspective and thanks for stopping in. If you want to come on screen and share, happy to have you. We've posted the link right above. We can have contrarian opinions on crypto or anything else we're talking about here today. Again, for reference, this is the Communiverse. We're talking here about communication, how messages are communicated throughout our society, throughout the media, and one-on-one communication. That's really what we're looking at. And that's what is leading me to this story about PBS. So let's dive into this. Look, I like PBS. I grew up on Mr. Rogers. And yes, I watched Curious George with my kid 100 times. But let's be real. It's time to end federal funding for PBS. These days, every highly educated professional on a PBS show like Curious George is a woman or a minority. The only clueless character, a well-meaning but bumbling white guy. And you know what? That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not one of these people constantly complaining, oh, too woke, too woke. That's not my position here. It's a choice. It's not a crime to have choice, but choices have cost. PBS only gets 15% of its budget from federal taxpayers, and it's furloughing staff while asking for more money during a time when Americans are struggling with inflation, housing, and healthcare. It just doesn't seem to be the highest priority. We're not living in 1967 anymore. Rural America has Wi-Fi. They have YouTube, they have Netflix, and 10,000 content options. We don't have a national shortage of video. We have a shortage of common sense. Okay, so that's note to editor. That's the end of my short form commentary on PBS funding. And again, I want to be careful. I'm not bashing them the way a lot of people do. That, oh, they're too woke or they're too liberal. That's not the point. My point is just more broadly, there was a real need for PBS when it started. I mean, there was just nothing to watch. Certainly, if you wanted your kid to learn something, there was nothing on TV. I mean, when I started watching public TV in the mid 1960s, Mr. Rogers was in his first year, and he wasn't nationally syndicated. This was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I loved him. And there wasn't really anything else to watch other than Captain Kangaroo, which I also watched. But these days, there are thousands, millions of YouTube channels that any parent who wants to give their child educational programming can get. And it's not that PBS doesn't do good things. They do a lot of good things. But there's an infinite number of good things that a federal government can do and finite amounts of money. I simply think, especially when I see how refugees are being stranded around the world today. I'm not talking about the white Afrikaners. When I see all the refugees in war-torn areas around the world starving to death, we're cutting money for them and potentially continuing funding PBS. I just think that sends the wrong message to the world and to U.S. citizens. Let's get some other comments coming in here. Modest is talking about crypto again. Bans, by that I mean Saylor buys Bitcoin, uses leverages for bonds, and uses it's a bond. You started off with bond, and uses bond money for more Bitcoin, and so on. The greater fool theory over and over again. Lacking common sense. We got vintage TJ. Okay. So, yeah, the greater fool theory is that it doesn't matter if you're investing in a real business that has real value or not. As long as there's a greater fool coming around willing to pay a little bit more, doesn't matter. You win. And it is true at some level. That's why tulip mania was such a big thing centuries ago. Someone was willing to pay more for your tulip than what you paid for it. You still made money. It always works right up until that moment when it doesn't work any longer. Now, many people have predicted that cryptocurrency will go bust once and for all, and that's it. They've all been wrong. So let me be honest and fair here. Those predicting that it's just going to go poof one day have also been wrong for the last 18 years, essentially. It came out in 2009, so 16 years. Cryptocurrency has been around since 2009. So for 16 years, people predicting that it's going to implode and go to zero and everyone's going to lose everything, they've been wrong. But those who've contended it's going to take off, there's going to be mass adoption, it's going to replace so-called fiat currency, they've also been wrong, and I don't see them admitting it. I have seen people who predicted it would go bust, and they were wrong, admit it. So I do see a bit of a difference there when it comes to the intellectual honesty of people. I want to switch over in a moment to a different topic that, to me, does not get enough attention in our culture, because it's like talking about air. Air is everywhere. We breathe it in all day long. I'm talking specifically about diet drinks and how we're all subjected and bombarded with advertisements just 24 hours a day. Now, the average person, you've heard me say this before, is subjected to about 10,000 ads per day. You add in every marketing message. And so many of them are for sugary drinks, which we'll talk about in just one moment. I see Manas has joined us, but you're not connected. Your video camera and microphone are not connected. But if you do want to talk, you're more than welcome to. And again, this is an invitation to anyone, including our friends on TikTok. If you want to talk to me directly, all you have to do is click the link for StreamYard. It's posted in the comments, and you can talk to me directly. So I do want to talk about this new science that's come out, this new research on diet drinks, because on the one hand, it's not completely surprising. On the other hand, it is yet more devastating news that we are killing ourselves. And even worse than killing ourselves, we're doing it thinking we're being healthy, and it's just not the case. All right, so note to editor, this is a start for the new short form video. Let's be honest, the diet drink industry is a fraud dressed up in a skinny can. We hear the word diet or zero sugar, and suddenly it's a moral hall pass to eat and drink garbage. It's okay, I had a Diet Coke with my cheeseburger, so it cancels out. Nonsense. Dangerous nonsense. A new study in Nature Metabolism shows that non-caloric sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose confuse the brain, triggering hunger instead of killing it, especially in people with obesity. They make you feel hungrier, not fuller. Why? Because your brain expects calories when it tastes sweet. When it doesn't get them, it goes searching for more. Cue the tongue. This industry isn't helping the obesity and diabetes crisis. It's fueling it with neon labels and fake health halos. Here's the truth. If you're thirsty, drink water, or black coffee, or tea without cream or sugar, or chemical cosplay. If the soda is labeled 0, that's also your health benefit. 0. 0 value, 0 honesty, 0 reason to keep buying it. Now, you may have noticed I'm drinking here. And note to editor, that was the end of the short form, obviously. I'm drinking here too. You know what's in here? This is water. My TikTok friends can say it's water. It's plain tap water that has been run through a Brita filter. This is green tea. There's no sugar put in it, and there's no cream or milk put in it. Is it because I'm perfect and I'm 100% healthy 100% of the time? No. But it's because I've been near obese before. I'm 5'11 and a half. I peaked out at 218 pounds one time. So if that wasn't 100% obesity, it was very close to the line. So I know if you eat what you want, drink what you want, consume as much sugar as you want, exercise only when you want to, anybody, and I mean anybody, can become seriously overweight and obese or near obese. It's happened to me. So I'm not holier than thou. Today, I weigh 175 pounds, which is an appropriate, healthy weight. Is it because I have better metabolism than you? No, it's because while I would love to drink a cappuccino with lots of sugar and cream, I'm drinking tea without any extra calories, without any extra sugar. Because all the sugary stuff isn't healthy. The fake sugars, as we talked about in this new study, even worse for you. And I forgot who said this, and I don't mean to sound crass, and I don't mean to sound like I'm fat shaming anyone, but it's like, have you ever seen a thin person drink a Diet Coke? A lot of people would say no. I have, but that's not the point. The point is it's just not healthy for you. Water is healthy. Is it possible? Certainly in some parts of the world where water might not be healthy, it's possible. But in every part of the world, Coca-Cola, the coffees with cream and sugar, all the other, mellow yellow Sprites, all of that, those are all unhealthy everywhere in every society. And yet that's what has the marketing campaigns to communicate with you again and again and again. Coke adds life. It's the real thing. These messages we receive, after a while, it's like, the old New Yorker cartoon where two fish are there and another fish comes by and says, how's the water? And they turn and say, well, what water? You don't even notice it because it is completely the only environment you're in. We're in an environment that says drink sugary beverages or beverages with artificially processed sugar substitutes that technically have no calories, and you're going to be fine. Well, no, you're not. All of this sugar and this sugar substitute and even the stevias and all that, there's been so much research about how they just don't help you. Look, I love sugar. Human beings are programmed to love sugar. Evolutionary biologists think it was essential because it was a way of signaling to people when food was scarce, this is safe to eat, because sweet foods were typically never toxic or harmful to you. So there's a reason we're programmed to want it. But it's so easy to eat real sugar that hasn't been processed. It's called get an apple, a real apple, get an orange, eat a banana, eat a real piece of fruit, not apple juice, not orange juice. That's processed. That's just like injecting sugar right into your system. Eat a real piece of fruit. I do it every day. What are the negative side effects of eating a real piece of fruit? For most people, most of the time, there's no side effect whatsoever. So please don't fall for this scam of it's a diet drink. Oh, it's sugar-free. It's 0 calories. There's still a heavy, heavy price to pay. Other comments coming in. It wouldn't replace fiat except for El Salvador. El Salvador switched to Bitcoin, I believe, and it was a disaster for their economy. If you really want to live in an economy, or if you really want to live with Bitcoin, go live in El Salvador and tell me how much you enjoy it. I don't think you'd last a second, or most people wouldn't. Certainly most Americans wouldn't last 5 minutes in an economy like El Salvador. And by all accounts, their switch to a Bitcoin currency was an unmitigated disaster. Comments coming in. It wouldn't replace fiat except for El Salvador, but it would be a store of wealth like gold and silver with higher appreciation rate and long-term value, not practical use as of now. Okay, I've heard this argument before. The thing about gold, though, and silver is you can do other things with it. You can make jewelry. You can have fillings. There are thousands and thousands of years of societies valuing gold and silver. They're literally pretty to look at it. You can feel it. You can touch it. You can't feel or touch Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency. You can't turn your Bitcoin into a filling. You got a cavity right here. So I'm not buying that argument. The other thing I didn't even talk about, there's two aspects of this. People lose their key, their numbered address to get access to their Bitcoin. So they just lose it. People die. They didn't tell their loved ones what the coin is. So maybe their entire net worth, poof, gone. No one will ever get it. So there's that problem. There's also the problem of quantum computing. Once quantum computing really evolves and get to the point where the average person can get it, most serious experts say it will instantly be able to crack the code of anyone's crypto wallet. So all of a sudden, anyone in the world can have access to your wallet once quantum computing evolves to a point where it's really, really good and efficient. So most of the crypto enthusiasts haven't really factored that in. So that is yet another point I'd like to talk about. Fatima writes in and says, hello all. Fatima, thanks so much for joining us today. Let us know where you're from. I would love to know where you're from. I believe Manas and some of the others are in India. Fatima, if you are in Africa or the United States or any place else, let us know. If you have any questions or comments or would like to introduce a subject for us to talk about here in the Communisphere, I would love to hear from you. Again, welcome to I just said Communisphere, Communiverse. I was debating between two names for the show, Communisphere and Communiverse. I am leaning towards Communiverse. It's sort of bigger, it's universal, and that's what we're really here to talk about. We're not here to talk about crypto necessarily. We're here to talk about the universe of communication, how people, newsmakers, governments, industries communicate messages to the world, and also how you can communicate more effectively, and how we receive communication as human beings. What do we filter in? What do we filter out? What communication is actually harming us because we're not truly paying attention and we're not scrutinizing it to see if it's valid and it's based on fact, if it's based on reason. Okay, one of the things I'm planning on doing on this show is looking at what speeches, what presentations have really resonated with people, specifically online, video, and TV. So I'm going to take a moment now, and we are going to take a look at some of the top viral video moments going online right now. And one of them involves the former FBI director of the United States, James.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thank you for joining us. This is a Fox News alert. Disgrace to FBI Director James.
Okay, so this involves a little background. This involves the former FBI director of the United States, James Comey. This happens to be a conservative network, if you're not familiar with it, Fox News Channel. So this particular gentleman fell out of favor with the current administration. He's also widely despised by people in other administrations of both parties. So this is someone who has sort of stumbled and bumbled his way into causing a lot of problems for the two major parties in the United States. By some accounts, he cost Hillary Clinton the election in 2018 when just a few days before the election, he came out and said basically he could have indicted her but decided not to. And now the current administration also has serious problems with him for many, many reasons. Let's take a look at this. The reason I'm pulling this up is not to get involved in partisan politics. That's not the focus of this show and this channel. It's to point out what's really getting attention, because this video has far more views in the last 24 hours than any other video on this news network. So I want to just analyze it together, figure out why. What can we learn from it, positive or negative? And Fatima says, well, I'm from Morocco. I had an interview before with it about body language and efficiency communication. Great. So Fatima, very happy you're here. Thanks so much. If you want to come on camera and join me and have a conversation, all you have to do is click the link at the top of the comments section, wherever I believe you're looking at this in LinkedIn. So you can click the button at the beginning of our sequence today and join me on StreamYard. Okay, so let's take a look at this video clip. You can see right out of the gate, the host, who is a top-rated primetime host, was emotional. She's using emotion-laden words like disgraced, FBI. I'll go back a minute. We'll look at it right from the beginning, and then we'll analyze and together try to figure out why was this the most popular, most viewed video. And by the way, I'm going to do the same for the rival network in just a moment, MSNBC. So look at their top clip.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thank you for joining us. This is a Fox News alert. Disgraced FBI Director James.
So it's an alert. It's not just FBI director. It's disgraced FBI director. This is editorializing, and it's an editorial show. It's a commentary show. It's not a straightforward news show. So I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with that.
Comey making a threatening post against Donald Trump tonight as the president is overseas. Fox's Peter Ducey is live from Abu Dhabi with all the details. My goodness, Peter.
And Laura, the real head scratcher about this very serious topic is that James Comey wants us to believe, and we have this photo here, that he saw a cool, these are his words, cool shell formation on my beach walk. And the cool shell formation, according to the person who used to be in charge of the FBI, shows shells in the shape of 8647. 86 is common.
Okay, so he'll describe this in a minute. This is a bit of a stretch, but again, this is the most popular video. The messages in this story are being communicated to more people around the globe than any other news story on this particular network in the last 24 hours. Let's see how he explains it.
Restaurant lingo, of course, for denying service to somebody. But after about 30 seconds of Googling, you can see that a good chunk of people all around the world also associate 86 with meaning to kill somebody. An old mob saying, basically, you take somebody 8 miles outside of town and then you put them 6 feet in the ground. James Comey, again, a guy who has prosecuted mobsters, apparently had no idea that this was a thing. He deleted the original post with the cool shell formation, and he writes, I posted a picture earlier of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, and I took the post down. That's not enough.
Okay, so that's basically the story. You could look at that and say, my goodness, must have been a slow news day. They really made a mountain out of a molehill. But it triggered various political factions in a way that everyone got excited. It hit certain buttons that allowed certain partisans to really do what they do best, which is vent, to fulminate, to froth at the mouth, and to go after various boogeymen. James Comey is someone who, by all accounts, is not a particularly ideological person. As head of the former FBI, I don't think anyone seriously thinks he was asking for or encouraging people to assassinate anyone. So again, in case you missed it, 86 was written in shells, which often means to deny service, to cancel. I personally have never heard of it in terms of killing someone out. The reporter there said, oh, it does have mob references. And then the other number is the number of the president that the current president is. So if you 86, 47, and he's the 47th president, the message is supposedly, shouldn't someone do harm to this president? That's the spin. And James Comey does have a knack for getting into these tornadoes, these partisan tornadoes, these news tornadoes that end up really stirring things up, stirring the pot. He's almost like a Mr. Magoo character, I would say, in the way he sort of stumbles and bumbles his way into things. Are we going to be talking about this a week from now? I seriously doubt it. Now, he has supposedly been told by high-ranking officials in the current administration, they're looking into this, they're investigating him. Could he get the full force of the government coming down on? Sure, he could. Anything is possible. Is it really just about generating more news headlines, in particular news network? I think it is. But I'm here not as a political analyst for you. I'm here simply as a communications executive. Now, what does this really mean to you or me? It does mean there's certain hot button issues in any culture. If you're already a political figure, as he is, anything you say, anything you do, any image you show, I believe you should scrutinize it from the perspective of, could this be misinterpreted any possible way? What would my worst enemy do to interpret this to make me look bad? And if you can come up with an interpretation where someone is suggesting that you want physical harm or assassination of somebody you don't want, don't do it. Just don't post it. That's the only communication message that I can really derive from this, because when you are talking about violence, possible death, that's the ultimate in attack. And attacks are the number one way to generate news coverage, to generate views, to go viral, is when you're seen as attacking, especially an attack like this. So be very careful. Am I telling you to be mealy-mouthed and never say anything and never criticize someone? No, I'm not saying that. I criticize people now and then right here. But be careful that nothing you say can be construed as an act of violence unless you are, well, let me not even go there, okay? Special hello to, looks like Janice has joined us, of Unconventional Advice That Works. It's great to see you, TJ Live. A quick drop in on a Friday to learn perspective on Comey. Thank you so much. And we'd love to have you and your perspective too. If you want to join me on camera and give us an update from Canada on what's going on in your neck of the woods, we'd love to hear from you. So feel free to push the button at the top of the comments section and you can join us live on screen right here. Okay, so equal time here, folks. I'm not here to be a partisan. I'm not saying it's awful that this network put a spotlight on this story. It certainly plays well to their base. and got a lot of attention, more than 1 million views. And I should point out, this is their YouTube channel. This is not their main website. This is not their main cable channel. So it's only one signifier of the significance. Now let's go on the other side. There's another TV network in the United States called MSNBC.
Well, since we last convened here 24 hours ago to examine Donald Trump's humiliation tour of Middle East dictatorship, Donald Trump has, uncharacteristically for him,
and we have a bit of
a 24-hour
oh, I've frozen. Great.
Of strict silence about
all right,
his
well, that may be a sign that I've just noticed that my own feed has frozen. Typically, what that means with StreamYard is that the audio is still going. If you can hear me, Janice, I'll ask you, if you can hear me, if you can post something. Otherwise, I have to assume that the feed has frozen, although I see the clicker still going on. We are at 1 hour, and maybe this is a sign from the media deity that I've gone on too long, but I was planning on going on longer. Well, it looks like we have crashed the system. So I'm going to have, if you can still hear me, I'm going to have to sign off. And you know what? Let me just take this moment to have sort of a special hello to our friends on TikTok, because I think we lost the connection with everyone else. So I do want to say hello to, looks like Allie Clay has joined us. Christina Sunshine has joined us. If you have any questions and you're watching on TikTok, please feel free to post them, because we do have some time here. We are talking about the top communications issues in the world. And I see I've hit a time limit on TikTok as well. So it signed off and asked me to verify that I was still on. So I do want to say hello to SLG1. Judith Mitchell has joined us. Melinda Barnes has joined. Tag 6419. Boxer Break is here. Kiwi Dave. It is fascinating, and it looks like we have just a little less than 100 on right now on TikTok. So always nice that TikTok does a great job of inviting people. Oh, Fatima says she can hear me. That's great. So Fatima, thank you for letting me know. Can you see me? Or are you seeing a frozen image? Because to me, I'm seeing my image frozen on the screen. So if you could give me some update on that. And I don't know if that's because I had too many screens open. And Fatima, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me. And I just want to quickly scan and see if any of our friends are asking questions on TikTok. I do see that every so often people ask to be a co-host on TikTok. The only reason I say no, or I don't click yes, is we don't have you in our feed with StreamYard for all the other platforms. So then it does get confusing. But normally I would say, come on over to the YouTube show and you can join live on screen. You can be a part of the conversation. You can agree with me. You can disagree with me. You can call me out if you want to. We like to have spirited debate here. Okay. And Jakarza just said, just got the #1 gifter badge. So thanks. I don't know. Says subscription goal is met. I don't know if you're giving me gifts, but if so, thank you. Like a lot of people these days, I like gifts. Ideally, there's no grift or corruption involved, but I do want to thank you. So we are having some technical problems today, not only with my digital clone, but with our StreamYard. So I do want to thank people. That's the nature of technology. It's also the nature of experimentation. So I'm going to sign off for now. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Thanks a lot. I will see you Monday.